My name is Julie Levine, and like many others, I've experienced lethal health effects caused by the installation of smart meters and the accompanying smart meter grid. I opted out of the program, as did many of my neighbors, and thought that would be the end of it. But the smart meter grid, high voltage power lines, transformers, signal boosters, and collector Medusa meters has made me so sick that I have been forced to put my home on the market, the only home I've ever owned. And increased electrosensitivity from these meters has made sleeping or functioning anywhere near the grid impossible for me. I feel a constant electrical pulse under me shaking me awake all night long, and it increases in severity as the grid wakes up from around 3 a.m. on. I have diarrhea and vomiting every morning from this pulsing, ringing and pain in my ears, heart racing and palpitations, disorientation, confusion, and nervousness. My doctor has told me that my sensitivity to these new electromagnetic frequencies is exacerbated by neurological vulnerability from 2 previous traumatic brain injuries and spinal surgeries. He advised me to move away as soon as possible from the electric grid to avoid more dire health problems like cancer. I called SCE and was told by Jacqueline at the Smart Meter Center that I could be feeling pulsing underneath my house from the communication between neighbors' smart meters, but it was not SCE's responsibility because the meters are on my neighbor's property and I'm not part of the program. Jerry, SCE's smart meter guru, said there are 500 households on my grid. I've helped some of them opt out and paid their fees. I cannot do so for 500, and thus I cannot remove the grid. I filed a complaint with CPUC, and it was embarrassing. I got a boilerplate response that did not address the pulsing or the grid. I fought to opt out, which was to no avail, since my neighbor's meters and the grid beam directly into my home. I'm extorted extra money for trying to protect myself and so pay more for my own radiation. There is no opt-out from the smart meter grid and no proof of the safety of these meters and grids. I'd go more into the carcinogenic effects, but others will do so. But the American Academy of Environmental Medicine called on the CPUC to immediately halt the program and investigate these issues as it has been deemed carcinogenic. It's being ignored. The opt-out process is a joke and a farce. Yeah. Meanwhile, the utility companies benefit and we get increased privacy, surveillance and loss of privacy. I have to sell my home. I've spent over $20,000 since July remediating my home to rule out alternative causes of pulsing and other impacts of radiation. I'm living in a minivan and a tent, and I've gone off-grid to Lower Big Sur and Joshua Tree where I can actually sleep through the night, and now I am in a tent. I am a homeowner, okay? Renters and low-income homeowners also have health impacts, but they can't afford to opt out. I have paid those fees, and yet my beloved home has become completely unlivable for me, and my health is seriously compromised. This is a nightmare that must be stopped immediately, and a public health emergency. Please do not ignore us, please.
Yeah.